Welcome back to Inside Look on Bluehorn TV. I'm your host, Mike White, and on Inside Look, we are talking to the experts to go deep down inside strategy, marketing, communications, and everything advertising. Join us today all the way from Mexico. We have Peter Levitan with Peter Levitan and Company. Welcome to the program, Peter.
Good morning, or as we say here, buenos dias.
Buenos dias. Thank you for coming on the program. Tell us a little bit about you, your company, and how you got started in this rat race of media.
Well, I've got a long story. I started at Saatchi & Saatchi Advertising Worldwide in the 80s when it was the largest agency in the world. I worked in New York on accounts. I opened the Minneapolis office. I moved to London, worked across London. And in both London and New York, I managed business development for the agency. I woke up one day in 1995, discovered the internet, started two internet companies. One was putting newspapers online and the other was creating bots like a Siri. And then I started my own agency in Oregon, sold the agency, and have been consulting with agencies globally on their business development, planning, and structure.
So with COVID-19, what types of agencies do you think are going to survive this crisis, and which ones aren't?
Well, I think it's a digital world. It's a funny thing. Let's say recently we've divided agencies into traditional and digital. Every agency is digital right now. I would say that if an agency isn't close to 100% digital or super knowledgeable about every element of the space, that they are not going to survive. What we're seeing with COVID-19 is that more and more people in the population, consumers and clients, are being trained on how to use online services, et cetera, buying, selling, you name it. Or something like we're doing right now, video online. And an agency that isn't adept at that is just not going to make it.
So if someone is still 75% or more traditional and wants to help convert to come out of this, is there still time, and how does your company help them?
Well, there is time, and I do two things really. While my entry is into the business development function of the agency, I tend to spend a lot of time on the business plan itself. And the business plan is a definition for the agency on what they're going to offer to clients, what kind of clients, and how they have to restructure the agency to make that happen. We're seeing a lot of very interesting things happening, and I think we're hearing in a lot of places, offices will get smaller. I think staffs will get smaller. There'll be more use of freelancers. And this was starting to happen in the last recession, but this is just going to accelerate.
So as many companies, and with our software, we had a customer come on today that wants to fire his ad agency and bring it in-house. There's a transition of basically companies trying to create their own marketing departments. Do you see that pendulum flipping back both ways, or how difficult is a company, or how difficult would it be for them to create their own marketing departments coming out of this?
Well, I think you point out a very interesting, I think, switch in the market. There were a lot of companies, we'll call them clients, who brought marketing, media, creative services, content development in-house. And now that those companies are shedding staff and reducing cost, I think there are a lot of CFOs who are looking at the in-house marketing group and asking the question, why are we paying all these people when we can hire an agency that might be smarter and better? Why can't we hire that agency to do the work on more of a project basis? So I actually think that we're going to see a reverse in the pendulum, that what was taken in-house may now be sent back to some agencies. Another problem is managing things in-house is difficult. And again, CFOs, and I really view the CFO and the CEO as primary decision makers, are looking at this very hard. I know it, I talk to them.
So if you look back 30 years, and you've been in marketing a while, what is some advice you'd share with yourself 30 years ago?
Probably drink less. That would be my so my advice 30 years ago, I thought we had it pretty together 30 years ago. The advertising market was very profitable. We were making money on a 15% commission. Those were the good old days. A lot of people ask me, so what was it like living in London at Saatchi in the 90s? Well, it was the good old days. I think some of the things that we did then are not being utilized today, and it's something I'm looking at very hard now, is how to train account managers to make them better, smarter, have those account managers hold on to their business longer, become friends with their clients, become partners. I know that's always a weird word with marketing communication companies, be a partner with your client, but be much more knowledgeable about the client's business and be able to sell in additional agency services. All of that is a lost art. Account people became project managers, and that's a different skill set. I'm not saying being a project manager is not a good idea, but I think we have to roll back to the days where account managers were strategic advisors to their clients. And that's just not the case in many agencies.
What is the lost craft on the generation today that's coming up and getting into advertising or marketing? Is there something that 15, 20 plus years ago is a skill set they learned that just isn't being taught that's important?
Yeah, I think it's the strategic side. We went through this interesting change in the very big agencies. When I moved to London from New York, and in New York, I was really the strategic guide of the client. When I got to London, and this is a few years ago, there was a new type of person at the agency called an account planner. And that was kind of the person that represented the consumer, was the research person, was the strategic thinker, was the person that wrote the strategies. So for me as a person, there was a little interesting tension until everybody, I think, decided that I knew what I was talking about. But when we shifted from account people to strategic planners, those account people lost some of that strategic touch. And I think that is something that happened that we have to get back. I talk to all sorts of companies, SaaS companies, advertising agencies, and clients. Everybody wants a smarter, better, more knowledgeable account manager.
So finish the sentence. In 12 months, blank.
Well, I think we're going to see in 12 months that we're still in a recession. The stock market is insane to be going up right now, and I understand why that happens. And I also believe the stock market does not necessarily represent the economy. But what's going to happen is we're just not returning to normal in 12 months. And so in respect to the marketing services industry, we just need to be aware of and predict some of the shifts that are happening. I didn't invent this term, scenario planning, but companies like yours and like mine have to sit down with a piece of paper and say, okay, if these three different kinds of things happen, how do we address them? And so in 12 months, it's still going to be very hairy, and the survivors are going to be the companies that have set themselves up for success in whatever is coming. Easier said than done.
And if you look at the landscape out there right now, who is the ideal customer that you feel you could give the greatest impact to in the next 6 to 12 months?
Well, I think we know that any customer. When you say customer, I need a definition. Are we talking about a customer of an agency or a customer in general?
So someone that you can come in with all of your experience and help their business be one that survives. Who's the ideal customer for your business?
The ideal customer is an agency for me. Let's just keep it down to the agency side, that does not believe that they have a business development program that is designed for today's environment. And frankly, we're talking about a design that's different than it was in January. Clients want to hear different things. Clients do want to hear from agencies, but they don't want to hear nonsense and bullshit. I really do think that people have to think very hard about how to create programs, insights that will help a client's business today. We're not talking long form discussions. I really think you have to hit it hard. There's something I tell all my agencies, and that is that they need to be perceived as being unignorable. And that means that your message can't sound like the next guy down the street. And that's a very big problem for agencies. And right now, as they're kind of trying to roll with the punches, I'm seeing too many agencies sounding alike. I think that's a big problem.
Well, Peter, thank you for joining us on the program today. To find out more about Peter Levitan and Peter Levitan and Company, visit us at bluehorn.com. We look forward to seeing you next time on Bluehorn TV.